extinguishers, okay? Kyle's been with the department. Kyle's been with the department about 3 years now. He's taught a few of these classes, but he needs more practice. So he's going to teach the class, and I'm going to jump in where he needs the help. This is Kyle Esri.
All right, well, today we're going to talk a little bit about fire extinguishers and how to use them properly and safely. One thing to remember in a facility like this, it's not uncommon to actually have multiple types of fire extinguishers, so it's important to know what type you have and where they're located at. So you guys have a kitchen here, right? So you got several kitchens. Most commonly, places like this have like what's called an ABC extinguisher, and in kitchen areas sometimes they have Class K fire extinguishers. They both have different kind of chemicals and different compounds. An ABC extinguisher is mostly for like paper, liquid, flammable liquids, and electrical kind of fires. Class K is more for like kitchen, like grease fires and stuff like that. Now they do come in different containers. A lot of the times ABC extinguishers come in like a red container, or they could be multiple different colors, but Class Ks are generally like silver looking. ABC extinguishers, in order to know the difference really, is they generally have labels on them. And in case you have a hard time remembering what they can do, we have kind of a mnemonic that we use for ABC. A stands for like, we call it ash. That's for like common combustibles like wood, paper, that kind of material. B, we think of like barrel of oil, you know, so like we could think of liquid flammables. C, we could think of like current, so like any kind of electrical fire like that. Some places, I don't think this place has any like CO extinguishers, so you don't have to worry about it. But sometimes with some electrical places with computer stuff, they don't like to get like any kind of powder or anything on it, so they have a CO, which asphyxiates the fire. So one thing to be familiar with too is your capabilities of your fire extinguishers, because an ABC extinguisher can range from anywhere from 2 to 10 pounds in weight, and they can have a discharge time of anywhere from 8 seconds to 30 seconds. And most of the time, an extinguisher like this can only handle about maybe a wastebasket, paper wastebasket, a fire about that big. So it's good to know the capabilities of it. Now before you use a fire extinguisher, there's a few things you got to check first and you got to think about first. First thing to check is, like I said, the type of extinguisher. Make sure it's the right extinguisher you need to use. Second of all, you need to look at the gauge here and make sure it's charged. Sometimes these, when they sit for a while, or if they weren't properly sealed or manufactured, they can leak a little bit. So it's just to make sure you want to go in there with some pressure in your extinguisher. You also kind of want to check the hose. This is out in public, so sometimes kids come by, they can jam gum in it, or spiders can make their nests in there, or anything like that. It's just good to make sure that that's clear before you use it. Now before even going into a fire, you kind of want to analyze it itself. Is it an area where you can get in and get out quickly? Because one, you never want to put yourself between, you always want to be between the fire and your exit, just in case it does get so bad you can just get out right away. So you want to analyze the fire. Is it growing too fast for your capabilities? Like I said, this will only last about 30 seconds, and it can only extinguish properly a fire that's a wastebasket. So you want to analyze the fire, analyze whether you can get in or out properly, and then you want to kind of check to make sure, let me restart. First of all, you want to make sure 911's called before even, if you're the only one there, just make sure it's called so that way we're on our way. So in order to use an extinguisher, we use a mnemonic called PASS. The P stands for you pull the pin. You want to make sure this breaks and the pin's completely out. You want to aim the nozzle at the seat of the fire. Now there's a bit of a distance you want to keep. You don't want to be right up in there and spraying it because you might blow it everywhere, and even if it's a liquid fire, you might spread it even more. So you want to stand back at a good distance, and a safe distance. And then the the S stands for squeeze. You want to squeeze the handle and then sweep. Do a slow sweeping motion at the base of the fire. Now, once it's fully extinguished, you can get it under control. If you can get it under control with just one, you can go ahead and grab another extinguisher if you can and finish putting it out if you think it's not. But if you think it's under control, just you can leave and let us know. Now, if you try and extinguish it and you get through the whole thing and that fire's still there, don't even bother grabbing another one. I would suggest just getting out, close the door, and just get out if you can. So that's pretty much anything I got. You got anything else, Rob? Any questions?
There's that blank stare at you.
I see it. No questions at all?
All right, we're going to let the firemen go then. Thank you
All
guys
right.
very much for assisting with that portion. All right, now that Aaron's finally showed up. You guys are all used to Aaron doing this, right? You want him back up? Aaron? Aaron? No? All right. So we've broken this down to a PowerPoint. It takes a little longer, but it'll be a little better for explaining to you what we need to do and when we need to do it. Step-by-step response for Health Center and BB. Aaron's going to chime in when he sees whatever I've missed or wants to add something. We'll have a time at the end for questions or comments, okay? All right, so all of a sudden you're working along here in the building and the bells and the whistles go off. So what's next? Step one, charge nurse. Goes to the panel, determines right here where the fire's at. It's going to say Fire Health Center first floor. On this little annunciator panel here, it'll light up and show you which zone in the building the fire is at. The charge nurse then assigns 2 staff members. Not everybody goes and looks for this fire. Only 2 people that the charge nurse assigns. They'll grab an extinguisher. They will go to where the annunciator said the fire's at. Everybody else has something else to do. They need to evacuate all the residents, all right? If you come across the fire during that evacuation, it's okay to shout out, hey, I found it, it's in here. They will come your direction with the extinguisher. Keep the people moving out the door. The charge nurse designates somebody to get on the radio. Everybody knows where it sits downstairs at the aides desk. That's the facilities radio for this building. That's what talks to us through these. During the day, there's, a dozen of us on radio that can respond if you say there's a fire going on. After hours, there's somebody on call that will respond, as well as the fire department. This little gizmo here, that's the monitoring box. That's the one that never shuts up every time something goes wrong. You guys are all familiar with that. That is the actual thing that calls our monitoring company that says, there's a fire alarm going off, Mayflower Home, Grinnell Health Center. They get that signal in. They're dialing our 911 county dispatch and getting the fire trucks rolling your way. That is for the health center. That is for BB. That is not everywhere. Evacuation continues after that's done. You're going to move everybody either past these fire doors or outside. You guys have all seen these 2-hour fire doors. They're in the middle of the hallways all over the place. They're rated for 2 hours. The fire can burn on the other side. Walls go clear to the ceiling. Everything's sealed off so the fire can burn down there for 2 hours to allow for evacuation time. Once you pull the resident from the room or residents, and you know that room is clear, close the door so that the rest of the staff that are showing up to help, we know that that room has been cleared. We don't have to check that one. Move on to the next one. Time is of the essence. South Village. This one gets a little tricky. A lot of people don't know it. But the door that goes out into the South Village courtyard here actually has a fire escape back into the building here. This is the glass door when you go to take out garbage that you walk past and look out and see the courtyard fountain and everything. That door unlocks when the fire alarms go off. So you go out that door, a slight left, into that door. That helps us contain the residents, and they're still on the other side of a 2-hour rated door. If you can't get to that, fire exit, that's the door coming in and out of South Village. Everybody's familiar with that. That's the one at the very far south end of the building that nobody ever goes out of. That only unlocks when the fire alarm goes off. That's the one that people down there have to stand and guard when the alarm does go off, because all doors unlock in the event of a fire. Somebody can elope out that door that we don't want to elope. That's why we need to redirect them if we can through another exit. All right, evacuation continues till the all clear is given. Generally, that is given by us. If we come, we see, yep, it's a bad head, we're good, it's an all clear, we can move people back in. In the event of an actual fire, that all clear will come from the fire department, not from us. They will tell us, we'll pass the word along. But until that point, the evacuation continues until that wing or the building is completely empty of people. BB Hall. I didn't forget you, Elizabeth. Oh, right. That one's really confusing at times, isn't it? The alarms go off, nobody really knows what to do. So let's see if we can figure it out. All right. Charged person, whoever's over there, Dave. Day or night, whenever, all good. Determines where the fire is at by looking at the fire panel. The bells are going off. Somebody's got, if you're upstairs on the second floor, you got to fly downstairs to the first floor. Right here in the soiled utility room is this set of panels. This panel or this panel will tell you where the fire is at. And then you got to, if it's upstairs, you got to fly back upstairs. In the meantime, if you have time to call upstairs, if somebody's still up there for staff, there's a phone around the corner, you give them a call. But it'd be quicker to run back up there, because you can't hear a phone ringing when that sucker's going off over there. It's really, really loud. All right. One of the other problems with BB is help. A lot of times there's only one, maybe two people there. So how do you get help? Well, the health center is going to see that same alarm over here at that panel. There's a fire alarm in BB Hall. Charge nurse picks two people, sends them over to assist. They're going to notify us by radio, whether it's during the day or during the night. Somebody is going to show up to help. Now remember, this is BB Hall, so if fire alarm's going off, that little squawk box dialer is already calling the monitoring company, and they're getting the fire department on the way. So more help is coming. If during the day, when dining services is on site, they will respond as well. Now the general rallying point has always been BB Hall, second floor. I don't know why, but that's where we all tend to meet. You would think we'd meet down by the enunciator panel and go from there, but that's not where everybody tends to show up at. For some reason, everybody shows up to the second floor. All right, so just like the health center, you're going to evacuate the affected zone. If it's the west end of BB, you get everybody either outside or clear down to the east end, past the 2-hour rated fire doors, everybody. You're going to have somebody that's probably going to say, I don't want to go. What do you do? Yeah, you move on. It gets about 700 degrees, they're probably going to change their mind, and then the fire department will take care of it. But you can't put your own life at risk if they don't want to go. All right, once again, 2 staff assigned to look for the fire. Everybody else is evacuating residents. We don't need 63 people trying to find the fire. We need 63 people getting people out. That's what we need. All right, same rules apply. Beyond the fire doors, outside, whatever, close the doors till all clear is sounded. Then they can go back. All right, trouble versus fire alarm. That seems to cause some trouble when it comes across the radio. That, hey, there's a fire alarm in BB Hall, and you go over there and no, it's not a fire alarm, it's a trouble alarm. To us, it makes sense. To you, it's kind of confusing. I'll try and break it down for you. A fire alarm means all the bells and whistles are going off. It's showing a fire alarm. A trouble alarm is when there's something wrong with the electrical components in the panel box for the fire system. Whether there's a smoke head that went bad, a battery that went bad, a wire, a pull station, something like that, it's saying, hey, I see trouble in the system, somebody needs to check it out. Well, it's going to tell you on the annunciator whether it's trouble or fire. So make sure you look plainly and see if it's a fire alarm or a trouble alarm before you get on the radio and say what it is, okay? All right, so when do you dial 9911? Health center BB are monitored off-site, so you don't need to. Any other building during regular Monday through Friday hours? No need. You call us by radio. We'll go check it out, make a determination whether it's real or not, and make the call to the fire department. Any other building after hours or on weekends, you will call 9911 first, and then us by radio. So why 2 9s and 2 1s? Anybody? 9 gets you an outside line. When you're in a hurry, you're thinking, I'm going to dial 911. Well, basically, you've dialed 11. So you got to remember to dial that first 9 to get the outside line to call 911. All right. Who can answer this question? Uh-huh. That's right, fire drills. Everybody hates them, right? But if we do them right, we can save lives. Because we are going to respond as we train. So if we respond poorly to the fire drills, we're going to respond poorly to the actual thing. So that's why we train. That's why we have fire drills. That's why there's one tonight. Who's working tonight? Overnight. Overnight. Late night. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I will be visiting you this evening. Oh, you don't have to make that face. It's all right. It'll be okay. All right. This is a recurring problem. People tend to find the box. I found it. Everybody stops. That is not how this works. Finding the fire is only part of the response. If you've had a room on fire and you found the fire, you wouldn't say, I found the fire, stop evacuating people. Now you know where it is for certain. You keep moving people out of the way. On the other side of the fire doors, the people with the extinguisher, the 2 people that are supposed to be trying to find the fire, if you're one of them that finds it, great. If you're not, if you're somebody else that's evacuating people, you stumble across it, holler at them. The fire is over here. They will show up with the extinguisher. You continue to evacuate. Once everybody's evacuated past the doors, we've attempted to extinguish the fire, all staff are safe on the other side, then the drill is over. But until everything happens, the drill continues. All right, room detectors, at least here in the health center. You wonder what's going on. The fire panel went off. It says, open latch room 111. I have no idea what that means, but there's a red light outside the room too. That means the smoke detector in the room is going off. Either you're going to hear the smoke alarm going off, which we've had that before. Some people are familiar with that sound. Or there's something wrong with the detector and it's going off and it's just not sounding. Either way, the nurse call light in the hall that usually flashes green is going to have a red flashing light because that room is showing a fire alarm. Also at the nurse call station at the desk, it'll say 111 fire. That's telling you plainly that this deal in room 111 is sensing a fire. So where are you going to start your search? Room 111. That's right. You go in there, the fire is between you and the resident. What are you going to do? Well, if you can put the fire out, great. If you can't, you have to close the door and wait for the fire department. Because if that fire spreads to the rest of the building, you know how many more people are at risk. If you can get the people out, get them out. If you can't, then we have to think about everybody else that we have to keep safe. Tough choice. All right, so what's left? Questions, comments, concerns, ideas? Everybody's bored to death, ready to go home, get out of this hot room? One question, Vicki. You're going to have to talk into the mic or else it won't be on the tape, right, Shane?
That's correct.
All right.
I don't care if it's on the tape. All right. So what happens, or what are we supposed to do if somehow we are on the other side of the fire in someone's room?
Each room has 2 windows. In the event there is a fire licking your butt, I'm guessing you're going to get out a window. Okay. Nobody's going to get mad at you for going out a window if there's a fire between you and the door. Anybody else? Ed.
since you can't use the fire or the elevator during a fire, is it sufficient just to get the residents and staff behind the fire door? Would it be necessary to evacuate the whole building at any time?
The fire department will be here by the time you get the staff evacuated beyond the fire doors to begin with. And they will say, evacuate the building or not. They will make that determination. They can turn the elevator back on. So if we have some residents that are stuck in the lower level and we need to get them out, they can do that. But yes, beyond the fire doors or outside, one or the other. Who's in charge? Charge nurse is in charge until facilities shows up. Facilities is in charge until who shows up? That's right. And then they are the only ones in charge until they relinquish that back to us. So if they say everybody has to get out of the building, then we start getting everybody out of the building. Something else about fire drills. I've noticed sometimes there's people downstairs, I'm not clocked in yet, or I just clocked out, or a fire alarm, not even drills, just a fire alarm. I wasn't on the clock. I don't care. If there's a fire alarm in this building, everybody needs to respond. If you can hear the bells going off, you need to help. Anybody else? All right, one more thing. Bolt for the exit. We're done. Thank you.